Hello, everyone. I'm Keith Casebolt. Welcome into Simply Life, my dear friend and your host of this program, Gary C. Johnson.
It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to be alive,
my friend. It is.
And today, this program, I'm going to dedicate the entire program to an educator that lives in Prestonsburg by the name of Flora Johnson.
Flora Johnson. She must be a very special lady.
Well, I'm going to talk about Flora.
Okay.
She doesn't know I'm doing this, by the way.
So this is a surprise.
Well, she may not even hear, who knows. But I think she needs some recognition, and I've got this radio program. Really, I'm going to give it to her.
Well, let's tell everyone right now, just in case Flora doesn't know, get on the phone, call Flora, and tell her that Gary C. Johnson is talking about her on the radio.
She's at Prestonsburg, and she's, okay, now who is she?
Okay.
She started Alice Lloyd College when she was 17. She attended for 2 years doing general studies. Then she went to Pikeville Community College, graduated with a BS, Bachelor of Science, in Education and Psychology. Ooh, psychology is so hard. Then she goes to Morehead State University, graduated with a master's degree in education with a minor in English. And then she started teaching for 36 years in primary and junior high school areas in eastern Kentucky.
Wow. Very qualified. And
she went to Alice Lloyd and then decided to stay and give it back. But her hobby was writing poems. So she and a fellow by the name of Can Martin Isaacs wrote a little book called Windows on the World. And I picked this book up and started reading it. And I was amazed at the talent that Flora Johnson has.
You've said it time and time again. The most talented people in the world.
Right here in eastern Kentucky. So, if you folks don't mind, I want to read you a few of her poems. That she wrote, and it's published in this book. I guess the one that struck me most is she talks about how unimportant she is.
Now that's a no-no, Gary.
Yeah. I'm going to read you the one where she says, I like to write.
Okay.
When I get the urge, I just have to write, whether it's bright sunny noon or late at night. I pick up my pen and the words start to rhyme, only way I can get any ease to my mind. Why can't I be creative like some that I know? Make a fine quilt or just love to sew? Why can't I enjoy preparing the food or do babysitting for my little brood? I hate to clean windows and make up the bed. Just the thought of this makes me ache in the head. I like to read and watch TV. I wonder if something could be wrong with me. I like to eat, but I can't do that. My doctor says that I'm too fat. I don't like men, I guess I'm too old. So what in the world does my future hold? I just write my poems that no one will see. I'll pretend there's nothing bad wrong with me. I best stop now and let this end. I've just had a new thought that I must begin. Now, isn't that neat?
That is fascinating. I mean, it goes along with the program that you've talked about not realizing sometimes your gift in life. She has a wonderful gift to write, but she's talking about all of these other gifts from quilting and other things that she wonders why she didn't get, but she got the gift of poetry.
Yeah, and her poems are great. There's just so many of them in this little book that. So I'm going to share some of them with my friends that are listening to this. And again, these are poems from the little book called Windows on the World. And seriously, if any of you want this book, just contact me or Keith, either one. I'll order you one and get it to you because I think it's worth reading. It's by Flora Johnson and Can Martin Isaacs, and it's just a series of poems and things from people here at Eastern Kentucky that are just extraordinary people, one of which is my friend Flora Johnson. Okay?
Their vision on the world,
Mm-hmm.
or looking out their window to the world.
I talked to the publisher about this. I called the folks that have published it this morning and asked them if they could get the books for me, and they said they could. So,
All right.
and remember how many times we've talked about the dash?
Oh, yeah. How many times we've talked about it?
So I'm going to read you what Flora Johnson has to say about the dash in her book, and it's on page 89. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following date with tears, but he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth. Now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. Isn't that neat?
Gary, that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good.
Yeah.
You're right. Flora is very talented.
Extraordinarily talented.
And to our friends that have listened to you talk about the dash, Gary and I have this idea that the little dash is small between the numbers. Someday, when you and I are gone, hopefully our dash will be stretched all the way across and be really long, because we're going to try to make the most out of it.
And I think that's what Flora has done.
Absolutely.
And she should never, ever wonder about her talent.
I think
It's extraordinary.
I think the little poem of the dash could be something we could read every morning of our lives. What a great reminder.
And she published another little poem, Words of Wisdom, by Lady Eunice Johnson in Corydon, Indiana. So, folks, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to listen to another poem, right?
Surprise.
Here we go. Life is too short for grievances, for quarrels and for tears. What's the use of wasting precious days and precious tears? If there's something to forgive, forgive without delay. Maybe you were too part to blame, so make it up today. Be generous, forget the past, and take the broader view. Cast away all bitterness and let the sun shine through. If it's within your powers a broken heart to mend, remember, love is all that really matters in the end.
You know what? How much better advice could you give people than was just in that poem?
That's right. It says it all. It's what we've tried to say, but somebody put it in a lot better words than you and I could, Keith.
Or you think? Listen, Flora, please know this. I would have a tough time getting something to rhyme with the word cat, let alone writing a poem. That's a talent that I'll never possess, but I do admire the talent that Flora has, and the words of wisdom in the poem that we could live by.
Well, there's just several really neat little poems in this book.
You know what I like about the book and the poem? You know, you and I did a program last week, and you were telling our friends, I want you to think. Don't take my word for it. Think. It sounds like to me that Flora is a wonderful lady who spends a whole lot of time thinking about her existence and about the people around her.
I think it's obvious Flora Johnson is an extremely intelligent woman. She's been an educator for years.
Mm-hmm.
She got her education, started it in Alice Lloyd. And I was reading a thing on Alice Lloyd College the other day that when students would come there, when Alice Lloyd started the college, she'd get their pictures and put them on the wall. And the purpose of the college was to get people to stay in Eastern Kentucky and make it a better place and this community. And it said that when one of them graduated and left the community completely, she'd turn their picture over.
Well, you bring up a good point because there are a lot of doctors, a lot of medical physicians that are in this region because they went to Alice Lloyd and made a commitment to come back to their hometown to practice.
I was reading an article the other day that said that there's 2 colleges in the country that offer tuition-free degrees to students. And guess where they're both located?
Well, I know this answer because of doing this program with you. They're both in Kentucky.
One's Alice Lloyd, and the other one is Berea College in Berea, Kentucky.
Which gave you your start in life.
Berea College educated me. And no tuition, actually free board.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the greatest gift you could ever give anyone. Berea College gave it to me.
What an opportunity in life.
Alice Lloyd's done the same thing.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you're listening and you got extra money you're planning on donating, maybe you could give some to Alice Lloyd and Berea. It wouldn't hurt anything. May help some poor kid that doesn't have the money to go to school.
Yeah, and you know, I asked you years and years ago about law school, and I named off several law schools, and you said, do you know what they have in common? I said, what's that? You said, whenever you graduate, it says lawyer on your certificate. And you put things in perspective. So what you're saying is a kid from eastern Kentucky can go to Berea and take on the biggest lawyers in New York because of the education. You can go to Alice Lloyd and become a great writer of poems, a doctor, a physician.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the willingness, the opportunity is there.
And farsighted people made the opportunity, like Alice Lloyd, many, many, many years ago. And we lose sight of that. And we lose sight of all the debts we owe to the people that came before us.
That, you know what, that is such a great point worth talking about. What an impact on this from the students and the impact that they've made in life. All of the things that you have done were made possible because of that education you got at Berea and the career that you chose.
You know, we're dedicating this program to Flora Johnson. And I guess what I'm saying is, can you imagine how many over 36 years students' lives she impacted? It's incredible when you think about it.
Well, there you go. I mean,
but
hundreds,
even
thousands.
With all of those things, there were times, I think, when Flora may have got down a little bit. And I can tell that from the book.
And questioned, did I make a difference? Did I impact anybody?
No, it's right here in a little poem she wrote.
Okay.
Is where I got the feeling that it always wasn't a bed of roses for my friend Flora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the name of the poem is One Perfect Rose by Flora Johnson. I'm going to read it to you, folks. Again, get ready. If you don't want to listen, turn the radio off.
Well, no, you've already teased me now. I've got to find out the information in this.
Here we go. As I walked all alone in the garden, I was trying to find some peace from the cares of raising a family and from the troubles that never cease. As I sat in contemplation in the shade of an old oak tree, I thought of the problems I encountered, and the walls seemed to close on me. I was drowning in self-pity, and the tears began to flow. Seemed the world was out to get me, and I had no place to go. Then I saw a ray of sunshine near the place where the little brook flows, and standing directly in the sunbeams, all alone stood one perfect rose. Then slowly my footsteps wandered to the place where the rose was living. I thought I would stoop and pluck it for the fragrance that it was giving. Then I stood and gazed upon it, standing there so proud and free. All the other flowers had withered, it seemed to say to me, just look at me. I have survived the hours of sunshine. I have survived the winds and rain. I still proudly bear my colors, and I hide my scars of pain. Then I felt a smile emerging from my teary, mournful face. It formed into a hearty laughter, and again I joined the human race. It must be like the one brave rose, face my problems of each day. I'll hold my head so high and proud in my travels along life's way. I didn't pluck that one red rose, it had earned the right to live. I went away a stronger person, ready once more of myself to give.
Wow.
Isn't that a powerful poem?
Yeah. You know, when we talked about the book, The Three Questions, and I told you, Gary, I don't know how I'm going to get through this book because it's asking you to think, and thinking sometimes can be hard. Flora just asked us to take a long look at our lives.
Yeah.
As she did hers. And what a conclusion she came to.
Well,
going to be ups and downs.
My friend Flora, I hope you're not mad at me for doing this to you, but I thought you needed some recognition. And I think you deserve the recognition. And I hope that some of the folks on the radio show understand what a wonderful person and what the gifts you've given to our community.
And if you would like a copy of the book, Windows on the World, you can give us a call. Well, actually, Gary at GaryCJohnson.com. You can contact Gary or call the office and ask for a copy of the book.
And I'll figure out how to get it to you.
You know, how many books have you... Here's what I like. You're always asking people to learn and to think, even through Flora's poems. There's a great education there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you did that with How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you must have given away hundreds, if not 1,000 books, maybe thousands.
I give away a lot of those books. And I think maybe one or two people may have got some benefit from it.
I know of one. I've got it in soft copy. I've got it in hard copy. I've got it every way that you can. And the great thing about it is, and I would say this is probably true with Flora's poems, as you grow older and you experience things, when you read them again, it takes on different meanings, doesn't it?
I really think that one of the things that struck me the most about Flora really did not believe she was talented because she couldn't do all of those other things that she saw other people doing.
The quilting.
When she had a unique talent beyond anybody's imagination in her ability to write poems. And that's when I come back to, I'm talking to my friends out there when I say to you, you have a talent.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can't do things other people can't do does not mean or diminish you in any way. You need to cherish the talent you have and appreciate it. And as we come back to what we talked about last week, love yourself for it.
I think she discovered that in the poem about the rose. She discovered that there was going to be ups and downs and scars and pain. But in the end, there was this beautiful rose, and that's the unique life that we have.
Right, and you will find those roses everywhere if you just look. But you have to look for them, my friends.
You have to be aware, yes.
You have to be aware, and you have to think.
You know, the awareness is, since you've asked us to think, I hear more things in a conversation. I used to think that I heard the conversation. I didn't. I listened to half the words, but I didn't hear the conversation because I wasn't engaged.
A psychiatrist once told me that when people have memory problems, you can generally trace them to listening problems.
You can't remember because you didn't listen in the first time?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a probability of, for sure. How can you remember it if you didn't pay attention the first time?
I didn't listen to it. But it's a wonderful world, folks. And I just hope my friends that are listening to this program understand how unique it is to be a human being and how unique it is to not let yourself get caught up in all the sorrow, the misery, the grievances, and the things that's going on. And understand that you're entitled to be happy.
You know, an impact you've had on me with the book, the three questions, is as the author talked about our lives being a canvas, and that the canvas started being painted the moment that we were born. You just sat here on this show and said, not only are you unique, but you live in a country where there's opportunities, and you can redo that picture anytime that you want. You talked about the free tuition at Alice Lloyd and Berea, that if you want to go and be educated and you want to start a career, whatever you want to do, there's an opportunity to do it.
And it doesn't have to be any big deal. Just do something to make yourself understand that you are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cook something good. Do something, my friends, to understand how precious all of this is and understand your self-worth. If you don't understand your self-worth, nobody else will. It first starts with you.
Gary,
you have a talent.
I have a feeling that you could probably make a line, as long as you could see, of students who would come forward to say, Flora touched my life, or I went on to do this because of her teaching, her kindness, being the mentor.
Well, I'm hoping that with her poems that I'm reading to folks, that she will touch some more lives. Flora,
that'd be great.
You wonderful human being, you.
And what I love about the poem is it's to the individual. So the things that make you think of things, I'm thinking of something different, but the impact is different to everyone.
And if we could just figure out a way for everyone that is doing something unique to get the recognition that they deserve, it would make it a much better world, in my opinion. Because there's people that listening to this program, you're doing all kinds of good stuff. You're doing things that you never, ever expect any recognition for, but you should get it.
Gary, just being a friend, just being a companion to someone, just the fact that you're here. I went up to the Jenkins Golf Course. Mr. Childers owns the course, and for years we had a little group that played together. And my friend Linville Lee from there started a thing that, as those individuals passed, they're putting a little plaque on the bench outside, just reminding people that they were a part of your lives.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty emotional for me to see that, because I had forgot how much these people had meant to everybody. Just having them as friends, just enjoying a round of golf, and for their name to be there and not to be forgotten. Your existence means more than you will ever know to the people around you.
And you don't need a bridge named after you for that.
No, a bench is fine. Just a little bench.
And all you need is to understand that you took the full value of living the dash without wallowing in misery.
Mm-hmm.
That your dash was a happy dash, that it was a smiling dash, that you actually lived life. That's the key to it.
Yeah, and when people recall your name, they're smiling instead of frowning. I mean, that's the biggest difference you can make, isn't it?
Right.
Well, I think Flora's done that.
Yeah, like I say, if anyone wants this little book, Windows of the World, on the World, just get a hold of me. I'll figure out how to get it for you. They said they can print it anytime I need it. Okay?
All right. My friend, again, you've asked us to think, and I don't know of a greater gift that you can give anyone than for them to think and come to their own conclusions. If you would like to get in touch with Gary, you can do that at gary@garycjohnson.com. If you need Gary's services, he makes it really easy. You can pick up your cell phone and dial #HURT. I would ask you to tune in for Simply the Law, the television show that Gary hosts, Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock on WYMT, your CBS affiliate. In Central Kentucky, you can catch a late-night replay on WKYT, your CBS affiliate. My friend, those were beautiful poems, and I hope somebody grabbed the phone real quick and got Flora on the phone so she could listen to her poems being read.
Do we have 30 seconds left?
You've got all the time you want.
She's got a little poem called Happiness, which we talk about a lot, right?
We do.
Flora, I'm going to read your happiness song. All my life, or so it seems, I've been searching for something to fulfill my dreams. When I think I've found it and start to rejoice, I find I'm mistaken. I made a poor choice. It's then I start to thinking, now what can I do to get out of this mess that I have helped brew? Then I become restless and I become blue. This sure is some fix that I got into. I hate hurting someone. My life is most spent. What's wrong with a person who can't be content? So I just keep hunting for the person, place, or thing where I can find happiness in my second spring.
That is good.
Yep.
That is good. And I think that's what we're all searching for.
That's
so
right.
Remember, Windows on the World. And you can contact Gary if you'd like to have a copy of it. My friend, thank you for sharing that with us today.
Well, I felt it's about time my friend Flora got some recognition.
And special thanks to all of our friends that have taken this time to listen to the program. It really does mean a whole lot to Gary and me both. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in to Simply Life. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week right here at this same time.